Over 2 decades of sports radio dominance in Utah.
My favorite.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Win big Wednesday on the KSL Sports Zone with Wednesday. This week, 2 tickets to see Post Malone with special guests Jelly Roll and Carter Faith, Rice-Eccles Stadium, July 28th. It's on sale now at livenation.com. Get your tickets today and listen to the KSL Sports Zone all day Wednesday for your chance to win. All right, PK, we hit this a little bit here in the headlines during what is trending, but there are so many people with so many things to say. The NBA fining the Jazz $500,000 for fourth quarter benchings, and you put up, here's your chance to vent. And let me just tell you, you did a lot of people a favor, PK. Good work. Way to help the public.
There was a lot of ventilation?
There was so much ventilation. Didn't get to 100 the last time you let people ventilate on this topic, but 76 is still, it's got to be top 10 in comments in 2026 when we're all done. We'll see what kind of craziness happens over the next 10 and a half months. Brian posted a picture of Adam Silver, and he's got logos on his bald head. I can't quite see what they are. The picture's so small. And my eyes are so bad. Commissioner Silver will now help the Jazz set their lineups and rotations. Nice, Brian. LOL. I would say they deserve it, but they did win 2 of the 3 games. They're not very good at tanking. They're still getting fined?
Yeah, I think the outcome of the game is secondary, though.
Except that is literally the point of tanking, is to lose. So don't fine them for the win. If they're actually tanking, there's plenty of losses to pick from. Just fine them $500,000 for
so
Orlando.
if they didn't mention that, it's irrelevant. I think that I wouldn't focus on them winning that game. It's about the lineups. If I were the Jazz, I would say, here's the deal, man. We don't have a playoff team, right?
Yep.
So the idea is they're tanking to improve their draft pick and keep, in this case, literally keep the draft pick. Other teams are trying to improve the odds, right? They're going to get their pick irregardless. The Jazz, obviously, they're in a situation where they've got to first keep the pick and then worry about where the pick actually falls, right? So it's a little bit different. And what they should say is, and this needs to be adjudicated in a court of law. I would sue the crap out of them. Why not? We probably can't, but I get it. Say, we're not a playoff team, right? So we're not worried about over here some draft pick. We're worried about getting our first round picks, many of them, several of them, probably more than anybody else has on their roster under the age of 22 or below. If they played in a 22 and under tournament in the NBA, they would win because they've got more guys and more potentially accomplished guys. And we need to see them in real live competition. We're actually doing the competitive thing, not the non-competitive thing. So what? If we play Markkanen and Jaren Jackson 48 minutes, we're not going to make the playoffs. We don't have a good enough team. The league, the way it's set up, 16 teams make the playoff, and we're not one of them. But we need to get to be one of them, and we want to get to be one of them next season. So we need to have real-time development. We can go in the classroom all we want. We can practice all we want, but none of that. Every single basketball person will tell you the best way to learn is on the job. It doesn't matter. We went to college, right? For years. I went 5 years and then became a newspaper reporter. Well, in the first year, I learned 500 times more than I did in 5 years at college because it's real live experience, right? I went through foster care classes, which was, you added up, it added up literally a whole working week. And then I got a bunch of foster kids in my house. And in the first week, I learned more than I did in the whole time I had to sit in a classroom. It's the same principle here. You've got to get out and do it, right? If you want to learn to swim, well, get in the water. It's the same thing here. So I actually think they are trying to be competitive more so for next year. They're a solution to the problem. They're not the problem because they are trying to end tanking. Everybody else, you talked about you can name teams that are going to tank next year. You just said that in the last segment.
Yep.
I forget which teams you named, but you're probably right. Dead on.
Teams, but
the Jazz are trying to solve the problem. They're not trying to exasperate the problem. They ought to be rewarded money. Let's give them another draft pick for that matter. Way to go, Jazz. I'm proud of you.
I did not name teams in the last segment. If I had named teams, that's why you can't remember it. If I had named teams, I would have named Sacramento for sure. I would name Washington. I think there's a pretty good chance that Memphis will be tanking next year. I think there's a pretty good chance New Orleans might end up tanking next year. Now, I would have guessed a year ago, I would have guessed Phoenix is tanking this year, and I was wrong.
Well, no, they don't have their picks. Why would they tank?
See, and that's the thing I would have missed on. And New Orleans, you can't say they're tanking now because they don't have a pick. They're just in complete disarray and bad, so we'll see how this plays out. And I don't know of all those teams, which one of them have their pick next year. I'm still thinking about this year's draft.
We're going generally, but the Jazz are trying to end the problem. They're not trying to add to the problem. And if Oklahoma City has a problem with it, here's my finger and I'm starting to raise it. You would be doing the same thing.
There are people out there reporting that Oklahoma City is behind all this, that they're calling the league office and screaming because they want into the draft. They would love to draft 9th or 10th this year because everybody thinks there's going to be good players at 9 and 10. So they want the Jazz to hand that thing over. It's just ironic.
Fine, I get it. I would be doing the same thing too.
It's ironic that the Jazz, if they just declared these guys out for the year, apparently that's okay. That's what the Wizards did. They didn't get fined. They traded for 2 guys, named guys, and they just shut them down.
So you're back to the fair thing. So Johnny got a cupcake. Where's my cupcake? I never bought any.
Well,
of that
you just
stuff.
told us how important $500,000 was, and somebody's coughing it up, and somebody else isn't. So I get the not being singled out
thing.
You
don't think $500,000 is important. I do.
I do. I just treat it like it was.
I don't care what's happening. I only care what's happening to me. Once you get into fairness, that's a never-ending line. You draw the arbitrary line. Well, I'm getting fined. How come they're not? Well, there might be some other stuff there, and then you can go back and forth until the end of time.
Well, then the fine is fair because they are tanking. Well,
okay, but then there might be something else. There might be a scheduling thing. You had fewer back-to-backs than they did. Hey, what about that? When we're trying to win next year, you can go into that. Once you go down that road, you don't get to decide where it ends. Fairness must be fair 100%. It's not just isolated. And this is an obvious isolated example. I understand that. And so the argument may not be as strong as it normally is, but okay, fine. Fine all those other teams. And what does that solve? You can find teams until you're blue in the face, and it doesn't solve anything.
It doesn't.
The Jazz are trying to solve tanking. They literally are trying to solve tanking by getting true, real, on-the-job evaluations with Ace Bailey and Williams and so forth and so on. Hinson, kid, I had no idea who he was. Watched him last night. Kid's buff, man. I wouldn't mind having that body when I was his age. And so they put him out there. Maybe they got something, right? Now, you're not going to find anything in practice really to the level you are in games. You're not going to find anything really in the summer league in Salt Lake and Vegas the way you are now compared to that. I mean, you can find stuff at that point. I understand that. But the best evaluation is real, live, on-the-job training. And that's what these youngsters are doing. So they're trying to solve tanking. They're not trying to further tanking. And that's where I would go, because you can go, oh, well, he got fined. I didn't get fined. I mean, you sound like a whiner when you're doing that.
Tim is
do that.
Tim is not whining. Tim goes a different direction than a lot of people commented on our page. Tim says, this fine is well-deserved. As a lifelong Jazz fan, I'm so disgusted and disappointed with what the Jazz have done. Larry Miller would be beside himself with the way the organization is being run. So Tim's good with it. They've tanked for 4 years.
For Larry Miller.
Fine him.
Oh, they are fine. They're being fine. But, okay, fine. Fine on the fine. But what does that do? That's putting a sign in your yard. I support them. And meanwhile, I do absolutely nothing beyond putting a sign in my yard. Look at me. I'm special. I'm open. I want them to be good. But I'm not going to give a penny of my money. I'm not going to give 1 minute of my time. All I'm going to do is put a sign in my yard or a flag. They've got my support. Well, wait a second. How about come live in my house? No way. That's not going to happen. That's all a bunch of virtue signaling here, these fines. It doesn't address the problem. Address the freaking problem, Silver. That's what you need to do. Do something. You didn't anticipate that this was going to happen. This caught you by surprise in the 25-26 season. You didn't see it coming. Come on. Nobody believes that because it'll happen in the 26-27 season until you come up. You got geniuses who work in the offices in Manhattan, don't you? You ought to be able to figure out something. I'm not one of those geniuses. I went to ASU, obviously, so I can't figure it out. I gave you a suggestion. You're never going to do it. You want to eliminate tanking? Everybody has the same odds. All 30, all 32 teams. If you add 2 more, whatever you want, I don't care. And that'll eliminate it. There'll be no opportunity or advantage or benefit from doing it, but you're not going to do that. So you don't want unruly fan behavior. Stop selling alcohol for 25 times marked up price. No, you're not going to do that because it makes money. China over here, well, they give the league millions and billions. I'm not going to criticize them. I don't want to hear any of this stuff. It's all a bunch of virtue stuff.
And to your point about the commissioner should have seen this coming, he should have seen this coming because it was happening before he was commissioner. This is a 3-decade deal now going back certainly to Tim Duncan, although I read a thing, and I kind of remember it, but I got to say at 40 years it starts to get a little hazy. I've read people critical of the Rockets for tanking games when they were trying to get Sampson and they were trying to get Sampson and Olajuwon back-to-back, which is about the time the lottery was invented. So, although I'm a little fuzzy on it, I kind of think they're right. I think, wait a minute, I think there was a problem then, and they were trying to fix it. And that's why they came up with
20
a lottery
years,
in the
30
first
years,
place.
40 years, what difference does
I know.
it make?
It's forever. It's forever. Everybody wants to get the best play. I mean, before that, they had a coin flip. Why did they have a coin flip? Same thing. People are trying to get their hands on the best player.
Somebody needs to tell me that this isn't just virtue stuff. And look at us.
Yeah,
look what we're
something.
doing. This is PR damage control. That's all it is.
That's the best phrase right there. It's PR damage control. People are up in arms. We got to do something, so they fine him. But you're right. It is a Band-Aid. It's going to – until they change the rules, people are going to keep tanking. And the Jazz are growing their way out of this. And we got multiple people in here who are saying, it's all over for the Jazz. There's a bunch of people who are saying just – shut guys down for the rest of the season. If they find you again, they find you again. But play these young guys, and next year with the JJJ trade, they're going to be way, way better. So there are a lot of people.
JJJ, way, way better. I like it. I would go way, way, way for JJJ.
You're probably right about that. I should have rhymed that. That was a missed opportunity. But see, you're a rapper and I'm not. So obviously, it came to you immediately.
Does Chicho know you're whitey white on the side on weekends?
I don't think Chicho knows anything about that. I think that joke is older than Chicho. So I don't think Christian knows anything about it.
I'd love for you to elaborate.
He's a rapper.
I don't remember how it happened. But
he has a rapping career on the side, and his rapping name is Whitey White.
And I do believe that was, I could be mistaken, but I believe that was what Jim Rome would refer to as self-gloss. I believe I gave that. I think I accidentally rhymed something during a show. It broke PK up. He called me a rapper. He said, "What's your name?" And I said, Whitey White.
No,
because on the list of people, 3.4.
You're of Latino heritage. Isn't that good? Isn't that a great name for DJ? His rap name?
Yeah, dude. Let me know when your next gig is.
3.4 million people in Utah, and if you list them all, probability we'll end up on stage rapping. I'm somewhere down in the last 100,000. I mean, I know that'd be people judging me. Don't judge a book by its cover, but I accept that is how most people see me. Yeah,
I bet you could drop a bar or two or three.
Well, I had a chance. I bet you could drop a bar or two. You're right, PK. He's going to be in your chair in 20 years.
I'm telling you, he's a keeper,
midlife
man.
crisis. You're still young, Chicho. Your midlife crisis is going to happen in that chair right there. Just so you know where you're going to be when you realize, DJ and PK, R.I.P., they told me this would happen. All right. Now that I've whacked the host, let's take a break, and hopefully we'll still be here when we come back. David Locke's coming up at 8:30. More on the NBA and finding with him. Sam Farnsworth from Italy and the Olympics at 9 o'clock. Stay with us.